Hi Ronnie, my name is Shiraz and I'm a senior trainer at Debate Company. After reviewing your presentation for your potential investors, first of all I would like to say that you're a very strong speaker, you're very pleasant to listen to, you show a lot of enthusiasm towards TenLev, which is a great cause, and I would still like to go over a few pointers to improve your presentation skills. Among those pointers will be how to open with a very strong opening, how to reflect value for those potential investors right from the beginning, and also how to give more effective headlines. We will also touch a few pointers about better usage of your body language, and these will all help to leverage your natural charisma and your abilities. Let's see how we do that.
Hello, my name is Veronica Kohn. I'm the CEO of TenLev, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to present TenLev to you today.
Before diving into the material, I would like to tell you that I chose to give you feedback on both the content aspect and the non-verbal communication aspect. Starting with content, a very crucial element is starting with a very strong opener that we at Debate Company call grace period. What is a grace period? It's the beginning of every presentation, starting with 30 seconds up to a minute or two, that elevates the entire atmosphere in the room and keeps the audience engaged and their attention levels very high. How do we do that? You can open with an anecdote, a personal story, or even a funny joke, an interesting piece of data or a quote. Or in your case, Ronnie, I would recommend opening with a juicy or exciting story about one of your encounters with your celebrities as part of the social bidding at TenLev. Please remember, keep it short, stimulating, and related to the subject.
Today, TenLev is a unique charity auctions platform. It provides its customers with amazing products ranging from amazing meetings with celebrities and famous people, ranging from a meeting with your preferred singer or even a meeting with a business person, to a wide variety of products and even a large range of coupons and gift cards to many brands and companies. How does it work basically?
The first element I would like to address in nonverbal communication is eye contact. Eye contact is a crucial element that helps boost the intimacy between the speaker and the audience and also raise levels of attention. The good news is that it's a very easy element to apply. So how do we do that? There are two basic ground rules. The first one has to do with the whole spectrum of the room. When a speaker is presenting his presentation, in this case you, Ronnie, in front of an audience of 30 potential investors, you must always distribute eye contact equally among all parts of the audience. And a crucial element to remember here is that you also have to remember not to neglect the edges. People located at the edges of the room often feel neglected because the speaker doesn't even address them, and then their energy and their attention levels are decreased accordingly. So remember, Ronnie, looking at each and every part and each and every person in the room. That's the first element. The second one is to remember not to look at your presentation, in your case looking back at the board. The presentation is just another safety net that a lot of speakers use because they feel a little bit insecure about their speech. In this case, Ronnie, you're a great speaker and you have a very compelling presentation. There's no need to look back, there's no need to address it in your eye contact or even hand gestures. When you do so, you send out a signal, a covert message that the focus here is not the speaker, it's actually the presentation, and we want to convey the exact opposite. In slide number 1, for instance, you kept looking back when there was only a logo displayed, so there was no need to do that. You need to keep your eye contact focused on your audience and ignore the presentation.
Well, TenLev is not only a sales platform, it's also a charity platform. So we call the people who donate the products donors, and basically they can be celebrities, they can be enterprises or service providers, and they can be brands or even advertisers who can donate their products. We sell the packaged product after we organize it to make it more accessible for the public. We sell it to the public through our auctions platform. 60 to 80% of the sales price go to the benefiting NGO, and the donor enjoys from the positive exposure that is a consequence of their donation.
Let's talk about headlines. Most people use the common mistake of addressing headlines as something very generic and very boring. We've all been there and watched those same introduction headlines. Let's change that way of thinking. We need to address each and every headline, whether it's the opening headline or the headline of each slide, as something that projects value. And in that case, we have to look at each and every headline and ask the question, not what is it about to tell me about the next slide, But why should I even listen? Why should this slide even be included in the presentation, and then find the appropriate headline that will reflect the right value for it? Now, there are two kinds of headlines. The first headline is the main headline, the headline that opens up the presentation, the name of your presentation. In your case, Ronnie, it said Tenlev. Why not call it something that's more attractive and more appealing, like, let's say, rocking the NGO world? And how do you do that? If you think about a situation where you're handed a brochure, for instance, and you're on a convention, a business convention, and you need to pick which presentation to look into. If you had a brochure that had generic headlines, you wouldn't be very interested. But if you did have to pick just one, I'm sure you'd pick the one with the most interesting, attractive name for it. And that's the way you should be thinking about it. Now, the next type of headline that we have is the headline for each and every slide. In your case, Ronnie, if we take a particular situation, we had slide number 4 that said marketing strategy, which is again very generic and very expected. What if you use something different, like reaching 50 million users? That would open up the attention of the audience and keep them engaged right from the beginning. So how do we do that? Remember, a good headline should be presented as a question, a statement, or even a promise. Good luck.
Now about a little bit the market. We have seen the charity auctions market growing very quickly in the last 5-6 years. Since 2010, a few companies started to operate in US mainly, but also in Asia and Europe, and reached a market cap of $300 million per year. Potential users reach? We have potential users reach that is a consequence of our access to people who are linked to Israel, since we work with Israeli charity organizations. And we estimated through Jews, evangelical, ideologically linked people and supporters of Israel worldwide, 70 million users.
During your presentation, I've noticed that you stayed frozen at one side of the stage and you stayed there the entire time. And that actually leads me to our next element in nonverbal communications, which is movement within space. Why is it important to move within space? First of all, it creates a more dynamic atmosphere in the room, and it also sends out a signal of the amount of confidence you have as a speaker. So what should you do, Ronnie, in this particular aspect? First of all, you can take even a few small steps as long as you change locations within the room. And second, you can move across from one side to another. Just remember not to block your screen. And something else I've noticed during your presentation, you kept going back to the podium in order to switch slides with your mouse. What I would suggest is using just a small, simple technical aid like the remote clicker that helps free you from that limitation. So remember, moving within space may be a very small element, but it can make a world of difference and boost your presentation.
And the potential niche market cap, since we operate in the Israeli niche and not in the global market, is estimated to $60 million at the top of our operations. That's about the market. Now, about the marketing strategy. We found a few tools that can be very useful in Tenlev's marketing strategy. The first one is partnerships. Since we work with NGOs, with celebrities, with brands, and also with advertisers, we can use their marketing tools in order to promote our products, to share logos and content, and of course, to present the organizations that we work with. The second thing is viral campaigns. We work with celebrities, we produce content, video content, pictures, and we aim at spreading it virally through the internet, through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and to maximize the marketing effect of these tools. And the third thing is, of course, classical media campaigns. It can be on websites, news websites, gossip and people press, and of course, even mailing lists and more classical marketing tools. That's about marketing.
A common mistake we often encounter when we prepare speakers for their presentations is that they often start off with an introduction, supporting data, and tell the whole story very gradually, and get to the bottom line, to the value for their audience at the very end. But that's exactly what their audience is there for, and that's why that should be the opening line. So after we start off with the grace period, with our strong opening, we have to immediately move into reflecting value. Value for who, by the way? Value for the specific audience. In your case, Ronnie, we're talking about potential investors. So they would be interested in hearing about their potential profit, or maybe even about the fact that this is taking part of an innovative platform that was never been seen before in the NGO world. So what's important to remember about reflecting value? First of all, remember to do it right at the beginning instead of the very end. Get to the bottom line first. And second, and also important, always talk about the value for your audience. What's in it for them and not for you, as we commonly do.
Well, basically it is 10 Lev, and the main difference that we have with these competitors is that we work in the very, very specific niche of Israeli NGOs, meaning we don't enter the global market as they do, and we don't really compete with them. That was 10 Lev, and I thank you very much for your attention.
I'd like to summarize my feedback. First of all, Ronnie, let me start by saying that you're a very pleasant speaker. You use your voice intonation very effectively, and you demonstrate great passion towards 10 Lev, which is wonderful. In my feedback, I mentioned two aspects. The first one had to deal with content, and we addressed three topics within it. First of all, having a great opener, reflecting value, and using effective headlines. And then we moved to the second vector, which was nonverbal communications, where we spoke about maintaining eye contact and movement within space. Combining these two aspects together will help you make a giant leap as a speaker and also boost your presentation, making it and yourself more memorable, interesting, and most importantly, effective. Now, on a personal note, I think your initiative is wonderful, and I wish you great success, and I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job.